This video is sponsored by Vero. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I've just arrived from another photography workshop in the North Shore of São Paulo, and I thought about making this video to tell you a little bit about my workflow process. So let's get into it. Sometimes I like to plan my photos, and for that I like to use PhotoPills. It's an app that can predict where is the sun will rise, where it will set, where the moon will rise. It's a complete app that every landscape photographer should have. But sometimes I don't like any planning at all. There are two occasions when I go out and shoot. The first one is to have the plan. So I have either some location that I want to visit. So I plan to arrive there sometimes early in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes with a hard light at midday. But I also like no planning at all. Just to get my camera, go out and shoot something. For capturing my photos, I like to use this full-frame DSLR camera. It has a 17 to 40 millimeter lens. I also like to use the 70 to 200 millimeters f4, both are f4. So most of the time I'm either shooting landscapes or architectural photography. I also take with me a set of filters. Sometimes I use these, which are the magnetic ND filters. There's lots of filters inside, like the ND8, ND64, ND1000, polarizer. But sometimes I also like to use the square filter. For me, it's a complete system, but it's also heavier and bulkier. Short trips, ones that I can have easy access to the car, for example, I will use this. For longer hikes and more difficult trails, I like to use this, so it's less weight to carry. And there's also all sorts of accessories that I use. I always keep with me a spare battery and also a spare memory card. I always shoot in RAW format. I always try to extract the best possible image quality from my camera. And I also like to use a technique that I teach on my long exposure photography online course, which is the expose to the right, or ETTR. A few times also I have used the Uni-WB. I recommend you to watch this video here. Now, for the capturing process, most of the time I like to go out alone, but sometimes I go out with a group. For example, in a photography workshop or on a photo expedition. And this is an important part. I always use both cards here. So you can see there's SD card in this camera and the compact flash card. So I make a copy in both cards. So I have a kind of redundancy for my work. It's not really necessary to have two slot SD card, but it's a good thing to have another place where your photos might be saved. When I go back home, I simply remove the SD card from my camera and I put into a memory card reader. And I always save those files into an external SSD drive. Why an SSD drive? Because they're faster than hard drive disk. So I don't put anything on my computer. I just use the external SSD to work on my photos, to edit my photos. And I also make a backup copy on my external hard disk drive. It's an 8 terabyte drive. Besides that, I always have a copy of all my content in the cloud. I have an older video about my backup process. You should take a look here. It's a little bit aged. I think it's from 2018, but the principle it's still valid. And I like to import all of my photos into Adobe Lightroom. I like a lot using Lightroom because it's easy to use and it helps me to keep all my files organized. I create a catalog for each year and each subject. For example, landscape 2023, architecture 2023, and so on. I also name my files starting with the year, month, day of the photo shoot, and also the location or the subject that I was shooting. And for the last part, a sequential number. Also, when I'm importing files into Lightroom, I take a close look at the keywords. Keywords is very useful, especially if you have a lot of photos. It will make your life a lot easier if you're looking for a specific photo. After importing all my photos into Lightroom, I start curating process. So I start selecting the best photos from that session and I rate them with 1 star. But I don't delete the rejected photos yet. Sometimes the editing process, most of my editing process is in Lightroom, but sometimes I need to go to Photoshop to make a fine-tuning or a fine editing, or when I need to work with layers and masks. Sometimes my editing process might take a week, sometimes weeks or even months. The thing is, it's important to listen to your heart when you're editing photos. Don't turn this into a mechanical process. Because for me, the editing process is so important as the capture. Sometimes I just leave an unedited photo in Lightroom and later on, when I think about that photo, oh, okay, I could edit like this, or maybe I should give it this mood because it resembles me or something. The important thing is you have to connect with your photo and with the feeling that you had when you took it. Then after I have all of my photos edited, then I give it 2 or 3 stars. For some photos that I think they deserve to be in my portfolio, I give it 4 stars. When I decide to export a photo that will go to fine art printing, then it's a more detailed process. So I suggest you to take a look at this video that I address this there. When I decide to export a photo for a screen for my website, I usually use 4000 pixels on the longest side and 72 dots per inch. My website can limit the resolution size. Now for social media, I like to use 1600 pixels on the longest size and also 72 dots per inch, and I reduce a little bit the quality. Other than that, for the output sharpening, I like to use for screen and I use a high amount. For social media, I love to share my photos on Vero, either the desktop version or the app. That's because it offers me a better photographic experience and a better visualization. I simply can post it in any format that I want, be it either 9x16 or 16x9, for example, a square format, 8x5, 4x5. It won't crop your photo, that's assured. And it's a very enjoyable experience sharing it, answering to comments, engaging with the community. I like the fact that it is ad-free and has no algorithms, so it is a seamless, truly enjoyable experience. Take this photo for example. The visualization process is the best I've ever seen on any social media app, because you can tap, you can zoom in and look for any missing details in any photo. I can also use the places tag, so I can know the exact location where that photo was taken. If you don't follow me at Vero yet, I'll leave a link here in the description of this video. I hope you liked this video, this quick workflow process. If you like it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you on the next video.